And on the topic of the NFL draft, Iowa set a school record with 7 total players selected across the 3-day event. DITV's Paris and Cole Krueger are standing by to break down all 7 players and the 4 who've been signed as undrafted free agents.
Yeah, thanks for that, Morgan. Well, Cole, let's get right into it. There are 7 players drafted in an awesome time. We'll start out with one that means a lot to me as a Bears fan. Center for Iowa, Logan Jones. He's got all these kind of accolades: Remington Trophy, Joe Moore Award, 2-time first-team All-Big Ten, and unanimous All-American. What do you make of the pick?
I love the pick for this. I thought it was a bit of a reach for the Bears, but definitely a position of need. You know, they signed Garrett Bradbury in the offseason. Logan Jones, similar build to Garrett Bradbury. I think that he'll be a day one starter for the Bears. I know I was very upset. I thought the Vikings would take him maybe in the second or third round. Like I said, I project him to be the starter day one. And get this, Ryan, lifetime supply of Heinz ketchup for Logan Jones being the 57th overall pick in this year's draft in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. I mean, he's going to be competing for that starting job. Garrett Bradbury brought in to replace Drew Dahlman with a shock retirement. So Logan Jones gets that opportunity to make an impact on day one. And obviously, when you pick someone at round 2, pick 57, that's the impact you're hoping for.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to the next pick now. Another offensive lineman for Iowa. That's going to be a common theme that we're going to see today. Jennings Dunker goes at pick 96, just before the triple digits to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, he fell a little bit. I expected him to go before Logan Jones. He was higher on PFF's big board, and I projected him to be maybe a backup or maybe even a starter. I think he's going to compete for the starting job in Pittsburgh. Their offensive line has been in the works for a while now, and I think that Jennings Dunker will fit perfectly in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he played tackle for the Hawkeyes, but the Steelers spent their 2023 and 2024 first-rounders on tackles, so obviously projecting a move inside to guard where there's a bit less competition there. So Dunker certainly could still be an impact player there.
And a little undersized for the tackle position in the NFL, sitting at just about 6'3", a bit of a smaller guy, so I believe he'll move into guard like you said.
And then sticking with the Steelers, we'll move on to the 3rd pick in the draft for the Hawkeyes. Learned a little bit about him already. It's Caden Weechin at pick 121 in round 4.
Absolutely, and this was a bit of a shock for me. Like you said, drafted at the open spring practice. I thought this was a bit of a reach by Pittsburgh. I thought he could go in maybe the 6th or 7th round, but drafted all the way up in the 4th round. Remember, just kind of a return guy Caden Weechin is.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be a gadget guy, an impact player for this team. It kind of just depends how they use him. Interesting to note is that in the 7th round, the Steelers also picked another player very similar to Weechin in Army's Eli Heidenreich. So that's going to be interesting to see kind of how those two match up. Heidenreich has a very similar skill set to Weechin, see if they play the same role on the field.
But then going over to another offensive lineman, that's going to be Bo Stevens, selected by the Seattle Seahawks in the 5th round, pick 148, first-team All-American, Joe Moore Award winner, a part of that offense. Like, get this, in 2024, all 5 of Iowa's offensive linemen are now on NFL rosters, and he joins former teammate Mason Richmond.
Yeah, the Seahawks used a first-round pick on a guard last season, so one of those guard spots out of the way. Anthony Bradford is their other starting guard. Not exactly the most prestigious draft selection. He was a mid-round pick a couple of years back, so definitely an opportunity for Stevens again. Start off as a backup guard, but could find some playing time throughout the season. Keeping it moving into the 6th round, Carson Shire on the defensive side ends up going for the Hawkeyes here.
This is very surprising to me. I expected Shire to be an undrafted guy, very undersized for a linebacker, only started 1 year for the Hawkeyes, but they pick him up at pick 183, 83 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble this year, and I project him to be maybe a special teamer type of guy, maybe bounce on and off the practice squad for the Cardinals this season.
Yeah, Iowa's had a really good run of linebackers getting drafted in recent seasons. You think Jack Campbell was a first-rounder a couple of years back.
Jay Higgins was a UDFA.
Last year, and Nick Jackson, his running mate. Right. So Shire didn't get much playing time before that, but was able to grow into that role last season.
Absolutely. And then with the final selection, 2 more selections for the Hawkeyes, that being TJ Hall, who graced this very studio as a journalism student. Shout out to him. He had 1 interception this past year in 2025. He has great size for an NFL corner. He's 6'4", he's super tall and lanky, and a former journalism student, as I mentioned. I project him to be a special teamer, but you might have some higher expectations for TJ Hall.
Yeah, Saints' depth chart at corner is very thin. They have Kool-Aid McKinstry, who they spent a pretty high pick on a couple of seasons ago. Quincy Riley was a rookie last year, and then a veteran in Isaac Yadam. Outside of that, TJ Hall's got a real chance to make an impact. He's listed as their 4th-string corner on day 1, and as a rookie, you're probably going to see the field because injuries happen in the NFL, so definitely expect to see TJ Hall on the field this season.
And our final Hawkeye that was selected was Max Llewellyn, going to the Miami Dolphins at pick 238. He had 2 forced fumbles and 12 career sacks as a Hawkeye.
Yeah, this is a guy who's just put the work in over multiple seasons for this Iowa defensive line, and it's good to see him get drafted at the end of the draft. I mean, the Dolphins are a very rebuilding team. They're going to need players, and if you can get a gem here in the 7th round, I mean, why not? You need these guys to be contributors.
And I project him to be maybe a practice squad kind of tweener guy, especially being a late pick here.
And beyond the 7 players that got picked, there were also a load of UDFA's undrafted free agents, players who did not get drafted but still were signed by teams. 4 of them headlined by Mark Gronowski.
Absolutely. And then some other guys here, you guys got like Aaron Graves, Hayden Large, then Wampa and Ethan Herger both picked up by the Chiefs. Some guys that were still missing. A guy like Drew Stevens, surprised that he has not been picked up yet, are obviously clutch kicker from the past couple of years.
Yeah, Drew Stevens struggled with accuracy issues, but he has
At times.
NFL leg, absolutely. Mark Gronowski, very cool to see him get drafted. Got to be one of the best Iowa quarterbacks of the past couple of years. And the name I'm looking at, Xavier Wampa, down at the bottom. Guy who had a 5-star pedigree, so he has that NFL ability they projected. Didn't fully put it together in college, but definitely an opportunity to make some noise.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that is a look at every single player on the Iowa draft boards and the UDFAs that have gotten signed so far. Back to Morgan.